As you know, we are doing this session together with UNFPA, with UNDSA, and with the United Nations major group for children and youth. And this is meaningful for the Global Task Force and for UCLG because of the milestones that we have for 2024. We come from the UN SDG Summit in September with the rescue plan, where we presented 12 coalitions to localize this SDGs rescue plan, and we are going towards the Summit of the Future. The idea for here is to build partnerships towards this process, to put into the table the different mechanisms that we have. We have particularly from our constituency the advisory group to the Secretary General on local and regional governments, but open to partner with other processes and to start identifying and building the links between them. We will have as well, as every year in the intergovernmental processes, particularly the HLPF and ideally the UN General Assembly, the Local and Regional Governments Forum, which is led by UNDSA. So this is a crucial space that we will try to open as well as every year, but a bit more to partners and to other stakeholders. You know, the spirit of UCLG and the Global Task Force whenever we are in the United Nations is that the UN should listen to cities. And this is what our constituency always say. But we also try to guarantee that cities are listening, because we go with the power of saying that we should listen to cities because cities are listening as well. So in the Local and Regional Governments Forum, we are trying to build spaces for this type of partnerships. As you know, this year, the International Conference on Population and Development will be reviewed, and this process is called the ICPD 30. UCLG signed a memorandum of understanding with UNFPA, and we will be dedicating a global dialogue with local and regional leaders during the HLPF on this agenda, and it's one of our top priorities. And finally, the SDGs that are under review. I will not go deeper on what we will be doing. I would like to ask Mayor Howards, who is the mayor of Mount Vernon, to give us a keynote opening for this. As you know, she is a mayor. She is the president of the African American Mayors Association as well. She is a member of NLC. She's a member of the UN's Conference of Cities, and she's an OCD champion mayor, and she is representing our whole constituency during this partnerships forum. So, Mayor, the floor is yours to open the discussion, and welcome.
Peace TV reporters have been active at the UN headquarters since 2010, the age of former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. They are often invited to gather pictures and news about high-level meetings and events at the UN headquarters. We usually report live on the scene the events of dozens of countries, including the US, France, the UK, Israel, Germany, Russia, Egypt, Kuwait, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Morocco, and the EU at the UN headquarters and their residences in New York. Our news reports have, in part, kept the international community up to date with the work of different governments so that people everywhere will know the great efforts and contributions of the UN to world peace, international affairs, and multilateralism.
Here at the United Nations, we're oftentimes speaking about the importance of partnerships that we're doing globally and within our nation. But as a mayor who is leading at the most granular level of government and who is tasked with ensuring that international and national and state policies are implemented on a local level where they can truly meet the people, and that we have the proper amount of boots on the ground and resources that are dedicated to this work, I'm honored to be here. As it's been stated, I'm a member of many national organizations, but it is the local work and it is our local partners that truly help us get impact to the people in the community we serve, whether it's working with United Way, faith-based organizations, fraternities and sororities, groups, youth groups, our public health organizations, our economic development organizations. This is where the work is getting done. As we heard this morning in the opening plenary, it spoke about the fact that we're not moving forward with the type of urgency that is needed. And the only way that that can truly happen is if we bring this work to a city level. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnered with UCLG as they continue to push the campaign, Listen to Cities. We don't just have partnership with government, but we have partnerships with all of the stakeholders. Like I said, business, faith, government, civil society. And we must make sure that we have space at the table for our young people. Our young people do not want to be set at the outside table. Their voices are critically important to the work that we're doing. And we also have to make sure that we reach back and we don't forget our aging population. I call them our seasoned citizens because they have the knowledge, they have the passion. The Bible often says they called the old because they were wise, but they called the young because they were strong. And so if we do this work intergenerationally and through multidisciplinary actions, then we can achieve more. And so I look forward to learning more, to growing more in this international space, and to growing the partnerships so that we can accomplish what we have not seen accomplished just at sometimes the highest levels of government. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why there is this effort to have their voices, their presence at the local and at the global level as well. And we will be working with you to create this because the local and regional governments, they are closer to the communities. They are the ones who can address the priorities, and they are the ones that face the main challenges first, right? When the crisis comes, when the pandemic hit, it's at the local government that citizens will go for support. And then number three, because you are so close to the communities, local and regional governments, they also have this responsibility of making the implementation and follow-up of the SDGs an inclusive and meaningful process. And this is something I would say throughout the years, the local and regional governments forum, the space at the HLPF, we have been trying to make it more diverse and also bringing other stakeholders and their voices and their experiences and their message for local and regional governments. We learn from the lessons that are coming from the local level. And this is very clear because local governments, they also, and local regional governments, they took upon them the responsibility of tracking how they are implementing the SDGs, and the number of voluntary local reviews is a good example of this. And finally, number four, I would say what we have learned through this process is that creating this process, nurturing those spaces, and helps to establish new partnerships. Just help so much, and you need to be there and help them and be able to change. And yeah, finally, I would say, as Charity was calling this morning, it is also about joy, right? So it is a great partnership. So we share a lot. It's also great when you reach that point in a partnership where you can laugh together, and also you can fight the pessimism. I think the ambassador from Canada mentioned this morning, how this is something I think all of us that are here, that are interested in partnerships, we need to work more towards that. It is possible, although the situation outside might be so dire and challenging. So thank you so very much again, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Nayara, and totally agree that the local and regional governments forum is not only a space for speeches, but it's a process that we have been able to institutionalize, having in mind that this is a space where the first voluntary local reviews were presented, where the first voluntary subnational reviews were presented, and this has started build a momentum, a political momentum of a different way of talking about the 2030 agenda. And it is indeed for this event, but as well through our different negotiations. And I would like to flag the migration file, which we partner and cities and youth go together to these negotiations. So we would like to welcome Billy Anders, who is a Haitian activist from Media XYZ of the Caribbean, and as well a representative for the Children and Youth Major Group. Billy, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like to thank you for the opportunities to be part in this important conversation. Thank you. And now go with distinguished participants. My name is Billy Anders, and I'm from Haiti. I stand before you today on behalf of the Major Group for Children and Youth. As we discuss the vital connection between local and regional governments and high-impact partnerships. Over the years, we have witnessed the power of collaboration and multi-stakeholder coalition in bringing about positive change. Through this partnership, we have learned what is possible when we work together towards a common goal. They remind us that by joining forces and sharing resources, we can tackle even the most pressing challenges, such as poverty eradication and human rights protection during crisis. These coalitions have provided us with effective strategies and innovative approaches that can guide our action moving forward. One aspect that cannot be overlooked is the meaningful participation of youth in this initiative. We are not only beneficiaries of the SDGs, but also change makers. We must be equipped and empowered to take an active role in shaping our future. This means providing us with the necessary resources, tools, and financial support to implement our ideas and make a meaningful impact. Allow me please to turn your attention to the specific context of Haiti. My country is currently facing multiple crises, and establishing partnership with young nations is more urgent than ever. The youth of Haiti are resilient, creative, and full of potential. By partnering with them through projects focusing on education, vocational training, and community engagement, we can empower them with practical skills and foster entrepreneurship and employment opportunities that can help them find their ways, overcome the challenges they face, and contribute to the development and well-being of their communities. So please, I'm cheering you to reach out to them and offer them the support they need.
Central to not only creating and enabling the partnerships that we need to rescue the SDGs, but they are central to helping us accelerate progress at local level and helping us bring the vision of the ICPD to life in a way that we ensure that indeed nobody is left behind. For the ICPD review, we invite you to join the process because it aims to bring together a wide range of actors to reinvigorate the agenda. So we would like to engage ministers, parliamentarians, thought leaders, young people, civil society organizations, grassroots groups, so all business, people in business, the private sector, community leaders, so just to bring together all actors, recognizing the importance of including and engaging young people who are our current and future leaders and who are laying the ground for our vision for the future. And our hope is that our partnership with local and regional governments through UCLG will be a mechanism for us to move closer to localizing the ICPD and to access the key levels and the policy makers, the mayors and local governments that we need to invite to our tent of allies and bring the vision of the ICPD for an equitable, inclusive, and sustainable future today.
Of course, I mean, we heard from the mayor of Mount Vernon today that one of our strong ambitions as a constituency is to have a permanent seat at the decision-making table for local and regional governments. And to work on that, well, we have different mechanisms, some formal, some informal, and well, you'll be seeing us within all of the international policy processes. Just to mention some key milestones for us this year, of course, we have the HLPF, which is reviewing SDG 1 on no poverty. We'll be speaking about that later, zero hunger, climate action, and peace. But we also have the ICPD review, which we were just listening about. COP, but then also other more thematic forums like related to water. And one thing that we should try and think about is how can we come together as partners, so local and regional governments, but also stakeholders within these processes to try and work towards that idea of network multilateralism that we want to have in 2024. So I'll leave it at that and looking forward to the debate. Back to you. Thanks.
Civil society and the private sector, emphasizing our methodology of concrete and collaborative governance. This forum, along with the Basque Alliance for the SDGs, formed last year and uniting 80 entities, are key components of our comprehensive approach. These initiatives are part of the basic infrastructures we have established to support our commitment to SDG 17 and embody our society-focused proposal where we view the SDGs as a new social contract with our citizens. As our president, Delenda Kari, emphasized at the 5th plenary of the Basque Country 2030 Agenda Forum held in October, we are guided by the principles of solidarity and sustainability. These values demand not only global humanitarian responses, but also local transformative actions across social, economic, and ecological dimensions. Our efforts are grounded in coherence, ensuring that our global aspirations are reflected in our local contributions and personal commitment. Hosting the Global Secretariat of the Local 2030 Coalition is a recognition of our journey, but also a responsibility. We are eager to share our experiences and learn from our global partners. Let us unite in our efforts as we advance into the second half of the 2030 Agenda, creating a more sustainable and equitable future for all. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this vital dialogue. Eskerrik asko.
Talked about, but I heard a panel just a week or two ago talking about tourism for the mature traveler. I never heard that term. I'm 78. I've traveled to over 100 and something countries. I never knew I was a mature traveler. But guess what? We are the biggest growing cohort of travelers, women over 60. And yet the field is populated with young folks, young staff, who haven't a clue, and it's not their fault they haven't been trained, but they haven't a clue what are the interests of older persons, what are the particular needs. And again, I would just emphasize that when you want to take a rest, it's honestly not just for the older person who actually may be more physically able than the 25-year-old who had a ski accident and is recovering. Who knows? But all I'm saying is it's not just for older people. And so it's training staff, offering appropriate trips. I'm going on one actually to Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia in May with a group called Overseas Adventure Travel. And it's dedicated to this cohort because they know that people like me take 10 and 11 trips with them because they know what we need. They really work hard to get our support. The mention of Singapore and Thailand was that this is really doing a good job to encourage jobs for younger people, but they've got to be trained because guess what? The younger people are busy with their careers and everything else, and it's we older people who have the resources to travel. So I'll end with that. Please, the only other request is guess what? There's a convention, a treaty for every single group you can imagine, except for guess who? Those of us who are older and those of you who will become older. Thank you.
We're providing with housing providers and community groups to ensure that all New Yorkers, no matter what the background, know their rights under the city human rights law. Inside another agency called the New York City Opportunity and Poverty Research Team, we analyze data to determine who's facing poverty, why it's happening, and how impactful our city programs are. It's a powerful tool that not only helps the people, but it also helps keeping the city accountable to make sure that we are delivering the goods and services that folks need. Last year, the city built over 26,000 affordable homes for New Yorkers, which provided relief for many low-income residents who may need assistance. And we work closely with the Housing Authority to find different partners to streamline access to an array of services and opportunities to ensure that we are meeting the tenants' beyond basic needs. And so for us to do that, we are committed to helping the tenants and providing several opportunities to bring visibility of tenant forums so that they can have that seat at the table and they can continue to amplify ways that tenants can be directly part of the conversation. conversations on decisions that impact them. To further reduce barriers, we're also providing a plethora of translation and language services to help residents understand.
Mr. Wells, 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. I mean, skip that, I had a whole gender thing, but, I just want to, as I close, just want to make sure that the message is clear. Local and regional governments like New York City, we need to be at the forefront of these conversations because we're committed to reversing the trends that got us here in the first place. We can't do this alone. There's a world that exists with the deep power of collaboration and partnerships between cities, governments, and civil society that can be used as a vehicle for systemic change. And in order for us to have this happen, we need to break the silos and provide transparency internally and externally. It's really important for us to walk that walk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Income of citizenship, address establishment of a decent minimum wage to combat working poverty, setting at least 60% of the average wage, grant access to housing, promote comprehensive 360 degrees education, both at the school and also outside the school, and allow universal access to healthy lifestyle for everyone. We are therefore already working in our common agenda, and we built this alliance in Catalonia, but we were also fully engaged with these like-minded coalitions that perform an extraordinary job and multiply the effects, the results. For example, we are sharing these lessons learned together with our partners from Euskadi, for example, with the Spanish Union 2030, the aircraft initiative with the in Holland Islands, the Lombardy Protocol for Sustainable Development, or the Yucatan 2040 agenda, to speed up this learning process. So you can always count on us. As we say in Vision 4, we are ready to rescue the SDGs. And we make a call today here to work towards ensuring that this September Summit of the Future is really inclusive. And let us contribute to forge this new global consensus that the Secretary General was urging. We owe this to our generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
The collective goodwill of our community. And we've done that by engaging, and I just want to highlight that you can really get a lot done if you leverage common points of dissatisfaction, not trying to figure out what we're all excited to do, but what everyone's kind of upset about in terms of the status quo, which is usually the incumbent against any emerging idea. So I guess I gave remarks last week, and what I'll leave with this group is, and this is, I'm regurgitating someone else's good comments. Desmond Tutu once said, how do you eat an elephant? Do it one bite at a time. So I did a little math, and 4 pounds a day, you could eat an elephant in about 8 years. In 16 years, or 2 elephants, Hoboken will have achieved 2028 its goals in sustainable development, which is flood risk related, net zero related. Last month we implemented the Department of Climate Action and Innovation because we have to put our assets and best people in front of our most complex and intractable issues. So I hope that I can provide optimism and potentially some strategies to this group. And I want to thank you again for the opportunity to speak.
Great. There are local and regional governments that are pushing back against this dominant narrative of let's rely on technology and strong-hand policies to make our communities peaceful. There are those bright spots, again, also in Latin America, in Africa, and across other parts of the world. And this is where we come into place. Peace in Our Cities is a network of 24 cities and 40 partners around the world who have come together and said, we commit to reducing all forms of urban violence in our cities by 50% by year 2030 as our contribution to the 2030 agenda. We as a network are there to document best practices, to share knowledge and resources, to connect them with each other, but also to help them in shaping the narratives in their communities. Because when you have local leaders, they say, well, you need to help me create political space so I can implement some of these solutions that take time to showcase results. Because those Mamadura approaches, they're easy and they do show some good results, but they come at a very, very high cost. So let me end on the point to say how important partnerships are. Partnerships in a network, with a network, partnership with universities, partnership with community-based organizations, partnerships with larger advocacy bodies like UCLG and many others. And I hope that we're going to be leaning more into that as we go over the next coming years.
On human rights was an intergovernmentally negotiated
Forget it.
document. What would it have said?
Nothing.
Well, the role of civil society, the role of human beings in creating sort of a parallel process to say, yeah, we know you're going to do your intergovernmental thing. That's great. Do it as best you can. But we want to use this opportunity to say a few more things, perhaps be a little bit more visionary, more expansive. And it's not, again, to impugn the individuals who are engaged in this process. This is the institution we have. We do the best we can with it. I don't want it to sound like I'm down on the UN. Far from it. It's about seeing the UN as having a specific purpose and track, and then we, as those outside, also have a specific purpose and track. So we're trying to put together what we call a People's Pact to run parallel to this Pact for the Future. We are opening it up for contributions. My email address I can share. That's very easy. And then we have this conference in Nairobi, civil society conference taking place in Nairobi in May, where we're hoping to gather more perspectives, more opinions. And it's not to say that civil society thinks this one thing. And one thing I loved about UCLG's contribution about the future we need, forgive me, I can't remember the exact name of it. It was very similar to what the Secretary General ultimately put forward. I think it's great. Let's have 1,000 flowers blooming. Let's see which ones are growing. Let's learn from them and then create a People's Pact, create a Local Authorities Pact, create a Children and Youth Pact. Let's get all of this out there, because without all of these ideas, we can confine ourselves to the system that I don't think we owe to our progeny. We can create something, with a bit more of an adventurous attitude, create something a little bit more necessary for the moment in which we live. And that's sort of my plea, is to not be constrained, but to use that imagination and to build on each other's expertise, to share learning liberally, so that we can use this summit as an opportunity to advance more ideas in future spaces and generate more partnerships. So thanks for the opportunity, and sorry for...
No.
Yes, that we identify those common points of dissatisfaction, because oftentimes we try and organize people on what we agree, and that leaves so many who want to have a voice away from the table. So if we start looking at where we disagree, and we can find agreement and we work out from there, that it's going to be incredible. And finally, as you just said, let's not confine ourselves to systems that haven't worked, but be transformed and not conform to what we've seen and what we've been frustrated with. Thank you so much. Take this opportunity to network, to be great, to develop authentic relationships, because as we develop these authentic relationships beyond just the issues, but we get to know each other, because in one way or another, we're going to spend a lot of time with each other as our paths cross in different places. Then the work will truly be transformative, and it will impact our children, ourselves, and our parents. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a blessed day.